Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Sunday podcast. We haven't done these podcasts for a little while, just because we've been head down working on our new product, the new version of Discussions. Some of you might have seen it on a beta site. It's much cleaner, it's much better on mobile, and it is a brand new code base. So this is the third time, I think, if I'm counting correctly, that we have redone our code base, and each time after that, we are able to deploy and do much more interesting things on top of the code base. With this latest code base, we are going to be able to add functionalities that you guys have been asking for much more quickly. So obviously the big one is dark mode. So this is something that you guys have been asking for since the beginning of the time of discussions. You finally have it now in on the form, and we added some really exciting login processes that simplifies the onboarding process and making it very easy to do that. And with me to talk about this new version update is our lovely team, Asphyxia, Brian, and Paul.
What's going on, everyone? Good to be
Hey, everybody.
here on a Sunday.
Yeah. Again, we're gonna make this quick, but really excited about this launch. We're gonna be pushing it live. By the time you hear this, it should be live already. And again, it's one of those things that it feels small, perhaps. It's just another refinement to the site. But I really think this is one of those um, final baby steps that we take. That we now no longer could use the UI UX as an excuse for not growing our user base. For the longest time, and it was true to a great extent that the EOS account system did not allow for a great onboarding experience, which we got rid of. When we moved to 2.0, and after we moved to 2.0, we saw that a vast majority of our users are mobile, and Discussions 2 wasn't optimized for mobile. But the fundamental user experience issues have been solved. And with those things solved, again, we as the team internally no longer have that excuse to use as to when people ask us why the platform isn't growing. And we have shifted a lot of our focus into growing the user base, adding features that people ask for that we think would be uh, that would make Discussions a very unique platform for people to visit. There's a lot of content platforms out there. There's a lot of alternative social media platforms out there. Usually, they don't get a lot of traction. I hope the person who posted about tier.ui or something is not listening to this podcast. But yeah, a lot of alternative social media platforms fail. We haven't failed yet. We haven't succeeded, but we haven't failed. So yeah, that's my kind of rambling. And I'll let Brian and Paul take over where I missed out on.
Yeah, so I think if anyone's been playing around in the beta, over the last few days, I think it's pretty stark how much better what we're doing is. Not only is the user experience cleaner and more straightforward and more consistent, but the functionality is on par with the desktop experience. I don't think there's anything you can't do on the mobile, which is like a huge deal, particularly for me because I tend to access discussions on mobile more often than not. And then I think we've really turned the corner on our login system. So it's one thing for us to tout, Unified ID as a game changer, which I think it is. But at the same time, for someone who's a hardcore EOS user, Unified ID was another step. So now we've actually, made it so that two of the most popular wallets on EOS are you can log into the beta with right now. And by the time this broadcast is released, you'll be able to log into discussions.app main with both Scatter and Anchor. But I think by far the most exciting aspect is that now we've created a bridge to everyone who's in crypto who has a MetaMask installation on their system. So you can use MetaMask to log into discussions. Ultimately, that gives you a unified ID, which I think is a big deal. I mean, I don't know if how people perceive this, but for me, I've been in crypto for a long time, and I've had MetaMask as a plugin, for years. I don't use it very much because, quite frankly, the Ethereum DApp universe sucks to use. Like, there's no reason why you would interact with anything and pay, an unknown amount of gas for every transaction, which is, it's a bad user experience. But I still have them installed on my browser. So I actually think that there's a latent audience who, probably is the same way. They're not like hardcore Ethereum users, but they have MetaMask installed, and so that's a whole area where we've basically just made it a kind of a one-click onboarding process for those people. So I'm really excited by that. I actually think that's where I'd like to, explore the most in terms of our audience growth. So yeah, I mean, those are the biggest changes in my book. I mean, there's a lot of visual stuff, there's a lot of usability, but the fact that we really nailed down onboarding, I think is a big deal. So
Yeah. And we've been telling you guys that we plan to go multi-chain, for a very long time. And I know that at this point it might sound like a tired excuse for us not doing it. It's something that on our roadmap. But with this MetaMask addition to the login, again, it's not only a reiteration of our goal of go multi-chain. It's also, again, the foundation is laid. We're ready to go. So we're starting with EOS IO change, and we are going to be putting out proposals after this update to the main site. So you will be seeing the beta version of discussions move to the main site. And then soon after that, we're going to roll out our blogging feature, which is something that, we have been seeing a lot more content creators on the platform, and we expect an influx of content. So we want to create a space where content creators could interact with their audience in a more intimate fashion. And if that content creator have their token, personal token is a area of the industry that's developing and we are watching. If they do have like personal tokens, we want to be kind of have at least the preliminary system set up to support that. That means tips, usually, and maybe airdrops, which is a feature that we already support. After that, those things are set, we are going to be putting out a proposal on the Telos network, which is an ESIO sister chain. That's in part to get funding to incorporate some of their projects token onto our platform, but also, again, to use that money to kind of propel the discussions forward. Because, again, we have been very responsible with our finances, but we are planning to make bigger moves and spend a lot more on marketing. So yeah, so look forward to that expansion very, very soon.
yeah, I think Jack, the big thing to note on the move to the sister chains, in my opinion, we're a neutral party. Like, there's a lot of competing factors within the EOSIO world, and our project doesn't. It's non-threatening to pretty much any EOS project. It's we're kind of offering a neutral territory for everyone to kind of discuss what they want. It allows users to express their opinions. Like, there's no real viewpoint, no bias. So I think it's actually a pretty critical piece for the long-term ecosystem built all around the same software, regardless of chain. And as we see more of these chains gaining traction, I think it's an important piece for us to kind of support. So I'm looking forward to the Telos piece of this, and obviously we're looking at some of the other chains within the EOS world. So
Brian, did you have something to add?
Oh, I've just been testing the beta out a lot more recently, and I feel that the whole UI and UX is a lot smoother and it's a lot better than before. Um,
Yeah.
Transactions and posts are a lot more responsive, so that's like a huge plus. Before there used to be a slight lag time, but now it's like a lot smoother and a lot easier to use. And having it on mobile is one of the best things that we've implemented, along with the dark mode feature. Because I think I spend most of my time on mobile and maybe like 20% of the time on a desktop, especially when accessing discussions.
Yeah.
So I do feel that this is a huge step in the right direction. We just need to keep it up and focus on user acquisition now, because I think our product that we provided is very usable and it's good.
Yeah. And I want to just add a huge shout out to Asphyxia, who's been on a roll with development. He really hit this one out of the park. He's usually not a front end developer, and he would be the first one to tell you, but uh, I I don't think we could have hired a better person to do front end. So thank you, Asphyxia, and keep working hard. We're depending on you. And I just want to add that, if you're listening to this to the end, obviously you're very involved in our community. So I want to ask if you could share with everyone you know about discussions. We are gonna invest in marketing, but the best marketing we could ever have is just you telling your friends, showing them how discussion worked. Get into that conversation of cryptocurrency, get into the conversation of decentralizing social media and why that is important. And yeah, just helping us spreading the word in general. And stay excited, stay posted on discussions, and keep commenting on stuff and keep posting stuff. It's gonna be exciting, right?
Yeah, Jack, I'd actually challenge everyone. If they haven't set up a presence on discussions yet, I think now's the time. I think this is when this platform is kind of in its critical stage. The user interface is amazing. The back end is actually decentralized. It's an actual platform that champions free speech, provides user empowerment, and doesn't mince words about it. So I think this is the time when people should be getting active. I do think that we're at a unique point in terms of not only the development of this project, but also if you look at the broader social media landscape, I think people are looking for alternatives. And I think the alternatives that have been presented to most people so far have been lacking. So I do think we offer something better. I think we offer something that's more, flexible, more customizable, and more centered on what individual users find valuable. So, it's something where I think people who have been following this project for a long time should really think about, you know, what they can do to kind of push the needle a little bit. We're obviously on our end pretty excited, and we're kind of ramping up the promotion of things, but everything we do is magnified 1,000 times by long-term community members doing stuff in order to help kind of push that conversation forward. So I would encourage everyone to get a login, start posting on discussions, and start sharing content that's posted on discussions on other places, so that people are made aware that there's a new platform in town, and it's pretty much ready for prime time.
Couldn't have ended better. So I want to thank everyone for listening in, and I want to thank the team for working so hard to get this updated. Everyone's been putting in 110%. Well, Asphyxia's been putting in 200%. So yeah.
I think he's doing all my work for me. So
Yeah.
I'll take 50% of his credit, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we will see you next Sunday, hopefully. If not, it's gonna probably could be on a Saturday. And yeah, stay up to date stay on discussions. You're gonna see a lot more things coming, a lot more exciting things to come, and make sure you spread the word about it. Okay,
Right.
I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, thanks for coming out, everybody.